Let's talk about rates. It's possibly the most controversial topic at the moment. Where do you see rates going and how do they influence your portfolio?
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly come from an extremely volatile rate regime of the last year plus. And I think the good news in our view is we're entering a period of greater rate stability. And that's largely a function of central banks having reached terminal policy rates, but also the right direction of travel on more disinflation on a go-forward basis should bring stability versus volatility to rates over the next couple of years.
And the inverted yield curve is, the length of it, or the elongated version of it you've mentioned before, is quite unusual. Does that unusual play out in a different way than before, or on what's going to cause it to revert back to a normalized yield curve?
Yeah, so every cycle in time is different. Would say that inverted yield curves don't happen that frequently or that often. Going back to the 80s, there's been 4 other points of inversion. Today, we're in the 5th. This one's a bit longer in terms of its duration of inversion. We're in month 11 since the curve, the 3-month, 10-year inverted. And so, we're in this window of opportunity to start thinking about what can history tell us, what lessons have we learned from looking back in time around, relative value opportunity sets and how to think about duration risk and fixed income when we're in an environment like this where the yield curve is inverted.
So let's go a little bit deeper. The data matters very much these days. Are you using data any differently from previous cycles? Which data would you like an investor to focus on?
Yeah, I think the simplest data to look at and then kind of overlaying it with kind of where is value today in the market and does that align is just looking at the 3-month, 10-year slope of the U.S. Treasury curve and those points of inversion. And then asking yourself, in those previous periods of inversion, from point of inversion going forward in time, 6 months, 12 months, 24, out to 36 months, what has been the best opportunity historically in terms of locking in the current yield of income and not compromising that going forward and maximizing the total return opportunity. Right now, if you look at that, and we generally agree that, there's alignment of this opportunity set today is higher quality versus lower quality offers a pretty substantial return opportunity going forward, and moving out of cash and short-dated fixed income to something a little bit longer in duration. You don't need to go extremely long, but something more intermediate, around 5 to 7 years of duration, historically would tell you can tee you up for the best maximization of total return.
So let's dig briefly a little bit deeper into your portfolio and your favored asset segments at the moment.
Yeah, so right now in the portfolio, we've made a pretty notable shift in terms of the composition and the risk composition of what we're doing. We're always investing in fixed income. If you wind the clock back and think back in 2021 and coming out of COVID, there was an incredible opportunity to own riskier assets for the return that played out in those parts of the market. Today, we're entering a more nuanced environment of, while inflation is slowing and we're in restrictive policy rates, so too is growth. Not a disastrous growth backdrop, but one where there's less central bank support, a slowing growth backdrop, and you need to be, I think, higher quality in the portfolio. So in particular, agency mortgage-backed security pools, which don't have credit risk but have duration and convexity risk, are an area we think is presenting pretty attractive relative value. That's become a dominant position in our portfolio today versus history. It's one of the highest levels we've been, and certainly versus the last couple years.
Well, a final question for you is in SportsMad Australia, we've got the Australian Rules football finals coming up, having come off the heat of the Matildas. Does American sport teach you anything about the way you run your portfolios?
Yeah, I think so. And I would kind of reckon it to a team sport, maybe American football. So, very different sport, but very much team-based, right? There's a role for every position in the team. There's offense, there's defensive roles, and everybody has their part to play. And the way you achieve the outcome or the win or whatever you're looking to do is really through that collegiality of team and sharing amongst the team. to get to that outcome. That's how we operate our portfolios. Is a lot of integration of the teams, collaboration amongst the teams to ensure we get to where we need to do for the objectives we're setting in the fund.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.